Okay, hello and welcome to the weather update. It is 1:30 p.m. on September 30th, 2019, and I'm using a different mic, so the quality may not be as good, but the other microphone, the humming, I was getting numerous people saying they didn't want to hear it, so it's I'll have to use this one, even though it's not going to sound as good. It sounds more like I'm coming over through a phone line. But anyway, cool day across the area today. Temperatures only in the 60s, and plenty of clouds around. So we look at the dew points, you will see a lot more humid over New Jersey, of course, but not humid at all over Long Island, low 50s for dew points. Look at the current conditions outside at some of our observation stations, and you will see 67 degrees, and the dew point is 53 at Farmingdale. And yesterday turned out to be pretty nice. There was a lot of sunshine, but it was a lot warmer than I expected, almost 80 degrees. It wasn't supposed to be quite that warm. 78 was the high yesterday at Farmingdale. So, looking at the radar, we have a couple of showers that are over. We're really not going to see any rain. The satellite image, you'll see we're kind of stuck in these cirrus clouds here. So, the skies are mostly cloudy across the area. So, before we get started with the forecast, let's talk about Hurricane Lorenzo. And I know it's out in the middle of the Atlantic, but we have to talk about this hurricane because it's unusual. And because of its location, because of where it is. So let's go ahead and look at this here. So right now, Hurricane Lorenzo is heading for these islands here. All right, very unusual to see a hurricane hit these islands. It's almost unheard of. Hurricane warnings up for this area, and it even could impact the United Kingdom in some form. We'll have to keep an eye on this again. According to this advisory, it was a Category 5 for a very brief amount of time Saturday night, but now it's down to maximum sustained winds of 105 miles an hour, and it's moving as north-northeast at 15 miles an hour. It's moving over slightly cooler water, so that's probably why. But it still is in awesome shape. So we go back and we look at this. You'll see Lorenzo is expected to bring hurricane tropical storm force winds to the Azores beginning Tuesday night, and these conditions will continue into Wednesday. So hurricane and tropical storm warnings are now in effect for the Azores. Large swells generated by Lorenzo will continue to spread across much of the North Atlantic basin during the next few days. And that's the other thing that we have to talk about in this forecast too. So let's read the latest public advisory. So Lorenzo maintains its strength, and it's located about 1,050 miles west-southwest of the Azores, and its location is 30.0 north and 42.6 west. And the Portuguese Institute for the Sea and the Atmosphere have issued a hurricane warning. So this is outside of the jurisdiction of the hurricane. The National Hurricane Center, because this is a territory of Portugal. So the hurricane warning for this area. It's very unusual to see this. Definitely a sign of the times we are in. So at 10 a.m., the center of Hurricane Lorenzo is located near latitude 30.0 north, longitude 42.6 west. Lorenzo is moving toward the north-northeast at 15 miles an hour. Turn toward the northeast is expected later today, with an increasing forward speed through Wednesday. On this forecast track, the center of Lorenzo is expected to pass near the western Azores early on Wednesday. Maximum sustained winds are near 105 miles an hour. Gradual weakening is expected through Wednesday, and Lorenzo is expected to transition to an extratropical low by Thursday. Now, it's a very large storm, so Lorenzo is this is another thing that's unusual, and we've seen this a lot lately. Lorenzo is a very large hurricane, with hurricane force winds extending outward up to 90 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extending outward up to 255 miles from the center. The estimated minimum central pressure is 962 millibars, or 28.41 inches. So when we take a look at Lorenzo on the satellite, I'm going to look at it right now, you will see how large the storm is. And it takes up almost the whole floater. It actually doesn't even fit on the whole floater. You can see it's weakening, no more well-defined eye. It's moving over cooler water, so it's going to lose some of its strength slowly after becoming a very unusual Category 5. It was a very unusual Category 5, like I said, Saturday night. Briefly, very briefly. But very unusual to see that in this part of the Atlantic. And I want to look at some more satellite imagery. So let's go to the MODIS satellite here. See if we can look at the MODIS satellite, because this kind of will show you. Yes, all right, here it is. So this is the latest one. You can see how large the storm is. Look at how large it is in relation to, if you put this over Spain, it would cover the whole country. If you put this over the United Kingdom, it would cover the whole country. So it's very unusual to see this. So let me go to yesterday's image here. So it's just a very large storm. And it's quite unusual to see, really, this extremely large storm that is, I mean, this is almost unheard of. Almost unheard of. Absolutely crazy. So actually, I do want to see if we can go to an old, I guess they don't really have an archive of old ones in here. Oh yeah, archive here. So let's go to the archive. Let's take a look at that. I want to show you what happened Saturday night to this storm. Because again, this is really unusual. I think it was the, let's see, Sunday. I think it was the 0Z UTC. Was this one? Okay. So, this is just has the knots. They don't really, I wanted to show you when it was a Category 5, but apparently they don't really seem to have this. They don't have the full advisories here. Alright, we can go to Graphics Archive here. Let's do that. Alright. So this is what's showing the track of it. It's just such an unusual storm, so that's why I want to talk about it. Because it's such an unusual storm to see in this area. So this is the graphics archive of it. But I wanted to see, wind history. Let's see. It doesn't really show the max. I wanted to show you when it was a Category 5. They don't seem to provide that. But this was a Category 5 at one time. I'm telling you, it was a Category 5. Apparently, you can't really grab any of the earlier updates. They don't really seem to keep an archive of. Hold on, let's see something for a minute. We'll try this. Let's try this one more time. Okay, these are the. Maybe this is the right one. Yes, here we go. Here's the one. Strongest. This was historic. All right, that's why I want to read this to you. Large and powerful. This was Saturday night, 11 p.m. Category 5 Lorenzo becomes the strongest hurricane this far north and east in the Atlantic Basin. So this is the strongest hurricane ever recorded in this part of the Atlantic Basin. And the maximum sustained winds reached 160 miles an hour. All right, and the pressure was down to 925 millibars, or 27.32 inches. So it was a Category 5 hurricane. So here you go. Maximum sustained winds are near 160 miles an hour with higher gusts. This is historic. So this is historic. This happened Saturday night, and I didn't have a chance to do another weather update about it, but this was what happened here. Category 5 right there. Just so you don't, if you can't see that, if you're watching on your phone, there you go. Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic. So this is really unusual to see, and I just, it's all part of the climate crisis that we're going through. So let's go and take a look at, and there it is again on, just looking at some of these old satellite images here, but this is a large storm, very unusual to see, and yes, it's generating swell. So that's the next thing we're going to talk about here, because we have coastal flood advisories in effect for our area, coastal flood statements and coastal flood advisories. So we can look at that now and get into our weather here. So just minor coastal flooding, but up to 1/2 foot of inundation above ground level is possible because of the winds, and also because of the effects from Lorenzo. They're affecting the whole basin. So up to 1/2 foot of inundation above ground level is possible in low-lying areas near the shorelines and tidal waterways. There is a low threat of property damage. Shallow flooding is expected in the most vulnerable locations near the waterfront and shoreline. Expect around 1 to 2 feet of inundation above ground level in low-lying vulnerable areas. Some roads and low-lying property, including parking lots, parks, lawns, and homes and businesses with basements near the waterfront, will experience shallow flooding. So this is because of the wind direction. It's also because of Lorenzo. So many miles away, thousands of miles away, and it's affecting us. It's really very unusual. So let's take a look at the models now and see what is in store for us this week. We will have to deal with some heat before we finally cool down, and you will see that we do have some chances of rain in there. Hopefully we get some. Then we have this beautiful high build down for the weekend, and then another even nicer high builds down for next week. And then we'll have to watch. It looks like something's forming there, and look at that, it's forming something down there too. So, of course, we're not done watching the tropics, not by a long shot. So let's go and look at the temperatures. How we're going to be doing with temperatures this week here, as we head into October. September is almost over. Today is the last day of September. So let's take a look at that. So here's what today looks like, and then we go into tomorrow. Temperatures do come up. We get that southwest wind. Wednesday, things really heat up. One hot day. You see where that cold front is. And then, boom, cold front comes through, and look at that. Thursday, we are a lot cooler. Front kind of gets stuck to our south a little bit. Get a little wave riding along it. You could see that front kind of stuck over the area Friday, and then boom, it comes through. Saturday, we're in the mid-60s. So really below normal weather for the weekend, and refreshing. Warms up a little bit, and then that second shot comes in for Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. So it will cool off. We're just going to have to deal with a little more heat and a little more humidity. So let's go look at the dew points here and see what the forecast with that on the GFS. And you will see today we have low dew points, but that southwest wind eventually develops, bringing in increasing dew points for tomorrow. Probably still won't be too uncomfortable tomorrow. Probably dew points rising up to around 60. It's tomorrow night into Wednesday. We're going to be dealing with the sultry air and that west-southwest wind, so there may not be much of a sea breeze at all Wednesday either, which is going to suck forever. As it's going to suck for us because it's going to be brutal everywhere. And then, boom, that front comes through. Look at how sharp that front is. And then, boom, dew points go down. Thursday, look at that, and you can see the front's kind of stuck to our south. We're actually in low dew points, very comfortable. While folks in New Jersey are still not in. They're still dealing with humidity. And then you see we get a little wave of humidity. You get warm sectored for Thursday night into Friday morning for a little bit there. Humidity goes back up again, and then boom, cools off by Friday afternoon. So that could be an interesting setup for some thunderstorms, perhaps. We'll have to keep an eye on that. That is so far in advance. That's too far in the realm of the short range models to really see. But however, we will look at the total accumulated precip and see maybe we can get some rain at least, because we need some rain. And unfortunately, it looks like it's drier again. So it looked like we were going to get some rain, but still, I think with that warm sector around, we may have a chance for at least some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Hopefully we'll get some rain because we sure do need it. Let's look at the sky cover. As you know, this week we're going to be dealing with a lot of clouds, so plenty of clouds tomorrow. Maybe more sun toward the afternoon, but it will be kind of hazy and kind of humid. Wednesday, probably a lot of high clouds around. You can see that front there. And then for Thursday, kind of stuck in the clouds. That front stalled out over us, and head into Friday. See, we start to lose the clouds a little bit, and then Saturday looks like we could. It's going to roll some cirrus in, so may not be clear. I don't know. This is again a long range thing, so it could change. We may have to wait until next week before we can get some clearer weather. But again, that's in the long range in the GFS. Sometimes it's had a tendency to overdo it just a little bit on the cirrus. So let's go back to the precipitation here. See what our chances are, because you can see this is the front right here. You can see there's a chance for showers on Thursday. There's a chance. And now it has the low going. This low, which was supposed to go over us, is now to the north. So that may mean we're not going to get into the rain that we need to get into, which is really unfortunate because we could really use some rain. It's been very dry here, as you know. It's been very dry. But we'll have to see what happens as we get in closer to that thing. So I'm just going to go out to the CONUS view, and we're going to just look at some of the other models here. We'll look at the Euro, but I want to change this to the upper air. So, oh, this is not the latest. I'll have to go back to the 0Z run. Alright, so see that big ridge in the east. I want to see what they look. Yeah, you see what happens. The trough kind of goes to the north. We don't really get the setup for rain, so the looks like they're in agreement about that. You have to wait for that bigger trough to come down, maybe next week. We really need some rain around here. It's been really dry. So let me just put this over for Friday and see if there's a difference. Seems to be an agreement here. So unfortunately, yeah, it just doesn't look like we have a chance of a real soaking rain anytime soon. So with that, I guess that does conclude this weather update. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. And I'll keep you posted if we get any rain. But one thing's for sure, we're going to be dealing with some heat on Wednesday, and it's not going to be pleasant. Summer is not going to leave us without one more miserable day. Anyway, thank you for watching, and take care.